Hello everyone, welcome to BrainyHeart, greetings from Berlin. In this episode I'd like to talk about the sexual harassment and about our values as females. So it's a special female edition, but gentlemen are also very much welcome for this episode. Well, why are we so, ladies? I'd like to ask this very question to you among all. Why are we so insecure? To explain this, I've been thinking about this myself for a long time. Why are we just perceiving ourselves as being the weaker gender? This just goes or roots back to our cognitive bias, the world we created. Independent from what kind of family structures, where we've been grown up, how our parents actually treat us or gave us value, independent from this. When we take a look at the world that we created, we just see that it is all just to tick on the very much left, the linear part of our hemisphere. That part is always comparing, right? Weak, strong, slim, not so slim, good, bad, etc. So when we are in this compare modus at all times, also as female, then we are just not able to do the right thing and give the right value and right thinking, right antenna for ourselves. Let me break it down again. When you had a colleague, or when you have a colleague at the workplace, he's really good looking, charming, and giving you compliments, sometimes such compliments that it makes you blush, but you're still feeling tickled deep down inside because it's a very charming, good-looking colleague. The same attitude if the same attitude was coming from another colleague who's not really so charming, who doesn't take care of himself so very well as the other one who's paying you compliments, sometimes below the belt, how would you compare this? Would you give the bad-looking or not so charming guy the same chance, or would you basically escalate that situation? So we have to watch when we are talking about Me Too. We have to watch our own cognitive bias, and among all, we have to understand that we have been told by the world that we created as that. There's this compare modus. The true understanding of our own values as female. Let's take a look at the world. All the male activities or the qualities are decisiveness, target orientation, result orientation, leadership are all associated with male qualities, right? So result orientation, target orientation, decisiveness are all associated by our brain. We can't help but also female mind and female bias. We think we associate these qualities mostly with male. That is why, although the personnel departments are dominated by the female, we female are slave to our own cognitive bias and associating male and giving them the leadership to be in the top positions. Then in Germany, I just really started finding it extremely ridiculous that you're forcing the world to give us a certain quote, 30% quote, to be in the leadership positions. And yet we are actually dominating the personnel departments, we female, and we are slave to our own cognitive bias, associating men for being assertive, for true leadership, result orientation, etc. whatnot. Why are we not associating women with the same qualities? If they do, we just say, oh, she's bizarre. I can't tell, because our brain, our own bias, are just rejecting this because it's not used to identify the strong voice, decisiveness, assertiveness with the female being. And this is exactly what we have to take care of. So I'm not going to tell you any rules, regulations. If a man tells this to you, then you are sexually harassed, you can't go for Me Too. If a guy takes a look at you like that, then you are sexually, of course, sexually harassed. Ladies, we first have to understand our values, who we are, and a woman can also perfectly be associated being strong, being assertive, being result-oriented, and we are. There are so many ladies out there with those qualities and they are accepted, but they have a story just like you and me. And we have to consider this, especially those ladies who are in the HR departments, who's got something to say. We have to watch our nose and our cognitive bias at all times when associating qualities with female and male. This is the time for transformation. This is the time to understand that we are actually slave to this analytical part of ourselves, the linear thinking part, comparing it all the time. Hey, don't compare. What did that person say? Did you believe that person? Is this person authentic? Then again, I would like to break it down. In the job interviews, we female are trained to behave like male. We talk about emotions, how we do the good things for the team, for the company, etc., with no emotions, which I previously in one of the episodes mentioned before. So we need spark, we need the story, we have to learn storytelling and talking to people what it took to do that we have done something, we reached a target. That's a female way. And we have to learn that we are the species, we are a part of the mankind. I don't want to just separate all male are like this or they're better or worse, but who we are is what makes us us, is that we have two computer processors, I said it billions of times, and female can switch between those processes a lot faster. Right? She just takes a look at the computer, analyzes some data, and then grabs the phone and then just tells his son what to do in the afternoon. So we can switch that, both parameters, a lot better than male. It's proven. They've got their own qualities, and on the other hand, there are also certainly lots of male. As we know, they just reach their peak point after 45, and when you just ask male who are above 45 mostly, until then they just stick on the linear modus, good, bad, I have to reach targets, etc. But then, after a certain time, also male learn to operate with the both computer processors. And what processor is more strong and important today? We know that it's the right hemisphere, it's the EQ, it's the part that is able to receive nonverbal signals and interpret them. And this is the values we have to take care of. In my own career, I just faced with this phenomenon many times. I heard so many times that male, female told me, you're so strong. I heard from so many male, you are very special. I can't tell what that is. Because their brain, their cognitive bias couldn't deal with this, as female as I am, as we are, it doesn't matter. This quality is analytical, target-oriented, but on the other hand, really caring. Doing your business with care, with going for extra miles is the female or male way, and we call this common sense today. We call this having intercultural sensitivity. We call this phenomenon having a high EQ. And it's out to just analyze and take a look at the facts. KPIs, to analyze KPIs and judge people based on KPIs is no longer in. It's in to just be, and how we are be in the be modus when we are basically free of our cognitive bias and being there, relying on our EQ. Well, in that sense, putting all the aspects that I mentioned today, there is no rule or book that I can tell you when you're sexually harassed. If you do, if your nose, if your EQ, if your serial processor is just giving you that feeling that you're sexually being harassed, or somebody just makes a remark and you just think that's not right, and independent from what this person looks like, watch your cognitive bias in there, escalate it. it's also the next step, identifying that, hey, I'm being mobbed, I'm being sexually harassed, I'm being not nicely treated. Then escalate this, because it's time for us all that we've reached a certain point that there should be zero tolerance for misbehavior. There should be zero tolerance for racial separation, and there should be zero tolerance for gender differences. And do not tolerate this. Do not just think about this. This is the intellectual idea we all follow. We all just say, articulate. But when it comes to doing and acting or escalating bullshit or bullcrap, sorry for my French, then we just also we go one step back. Why? Because you just, harmony is more important. I don't want to escalate this. Well, be afraid of it, but still do it. Why? Because we have to create a better world. And this is only possible when we react to unpleasant, when we react to bullcrap. So, in this sense, take care and see you next time. Bye-bye.